Welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. Now, I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering my best weekly tips, motivation, inspirational stories, and transformation strategies so that you can gain clarity about what you need to do to reach your goals and give you the confidence to take action. And the perfect time to start taking action is right now. So let's do this. This episode is sponsored by you, my friends. I want to be able to keep cranking out 3 high-quality episodes each week, and I need your support to make that happen. Now, you can help support the show by becoming one of my Patreon patrons. Now, by pledging $1 a month, that's 8 cents an episode, and I'm going to earn it, by gosh. It's going to make a huge difference for both me and the show. If you pledge over $6 a month, you're going to get access to my Million Pound Mission live page where I do live follow-along workouts, live mobility sessions, live Q&A sessions, and even a few live podcast episodes. And all of your Patreon support dollars go directly towards paying for my new podcast production team. And they are the people that are helping me produce 3 high-quality episodes every week. Now, we need to raise around $500 a month to pay for those services. And you can check my Patreon page to see where our current monthly donation total is at. So it's all out there in the open. And it's kind of cool that you can see that build up. Now, currently, we're only at about $30 a month. So I do need your help. I'm going in the hole every single month, and I can't keep doing that. So if you can support the show, I'm going to earn that $1, all right? And to get more info on how you can support the show, just go to millionpoundmission.com, millionpoundmission.com, and click on the Support the Mission link at the top of the page. Your support is so important to me, and I'm very grateful, my friends. Thank you. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy, Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude. How's it going out there in podcast land? I hope that you're having a great day. I appreciate you listening in this week. I'm bringing a little unique episode this week. I think you're going to like it a lot. Now, have you guys ever felt like you are super passionate about making a change in your life, but you just couldn't build up the courage to go for it? Maybe it was changing your career or doing something to improve your relationship or improving your health. So this week, I'm bringing on somebody who has basically mastered the life-changing moment that I call a pivot. All right, he's gone from being a pro extreme sports athlete to a fitness influencer, to a dating expert, to a fashion expert, to a social media and business influencer, and so much more. And really the best way to describe my friend Ryan Magin is that he's kind of like that guy on the Dos Equis commercials, you know, the most interesting man in the world. So I thought it would only be proper to introduce his episode a little bit differently. So here's a look inside what Ryan brings to the table. He's the life of parties that he has never attended. If he were to punch you in the face, you'd have to fight off the strong urge to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to watching him. At museums, he's allowed to touch the art. If opportunity knocks and he's not home, opportunity waits. Sasquatch has taken a photograph of him. He's a lover, not a fighter. But he's also a fighter, so don't get any ideas. He is the most interesting man in social media. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Ryan brings a lot to the table. He is somebody that is just super cool and super interesting. Legit, very, very interesting. I think you're going to enjoy this one. There is a little bit of adult language used, so beware of that. Otherwise, I want you to enjoy episode number 134, The Most Interesting Man in Social Media with Ryan Magin. All right, Ryan, welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. How you doing today, my friend?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm psyched because I met you a few weeks ago down at Coach Cav's Mastermind down in Florida. And I instantly realized that you could be that guy on the Dos Equis commercial, like the most interesting man in the world. And I was like, this guy has to come on my show. Now, I want to get into your own story here in a second. but I've got a kind of a primer question because I was really interested in this first.
Okay.
So when somebody asks you what you do for a living, what answer do you give them?
Well, up until recently, it was actually very easy. I helped guys get laid by how they dress. But up until recently now, I've kind of grown a little bit. I'm not so much interested in that. And that's not saying that my advice still doesn't do that, because a lot of it does. But it's more just helping people differentiate themselves as a brand, as a persona, to kind of get noticed in, what seemingly is a crowded marketplace, because everything that everybody's doing right now on the internet is very crowded, very oversaturated. Like, there's nothing new now. So it's how can you kind of find and develop your own personal identity, become an icon in your niche, and kind of stand out and make a lot of money, from whatever you decide to do. So it's more broader now, but it's personal branding with some style and some edginess.
Yeah, and I love it. I love that you bring your passion to whatever your focus point is. I see this trend in your story of what you're passionate about, what you're focused on. You make those two things work together, and you create income from that and create a business. Let's go back to your BMX days, the riding. Let's start there and work our way forward a little bit.
All right. Honestly, I know you know a little bit about my backstory, because I said it a little bit at Coach Cav's event in Fort Lauderdale. But I got online because I was working at Lowe's Home Improvement. I was actually a really good salesman, and I didn't know I was a good salesman, but I was going through art school. Ironically, to be a computer animator. My dream was to work for Disney and design cartoons. So I've always had that real creative type of vibe. But in going through school and shit, I got a job at Lowe's, to pay for my own school and pitch in. My parents were paying for some of it, and I had scholarships, but I wanted to do more. So I'd go to school in the morning, and then from noon to 8 or 9 p.m. I work at Lowe's every day, and I ended up becoming a salesman in the door and window department. And I got really good at sales, and I was all commission based. So I was 22 years old, and I was making 40, 50 grand a year selling doors and windows, commission based, working my face off. But I loved it, because I was I was still going to school in the morning, but doing this and I was putting all this money in the 401k. I thought I was
nice.
I'm going to retire early. I'm going to own a fucking Lowe's. This is going to be great. And then I graduated college, and I got my first call because they promised job placement with the school I went to. And I got my first call, and it was for an internship that was $100 a week. And I was like, fuck you. I'm making, $1,000 a week right now working, I'm not doing that. So I never looked back. I just kept going with Lowe's, and started working salary based plus commissions, sales. Really getting good with but I've always had a strength for personal connection. I would always get in trouble at Lowe's because I would never put my contacts into the database so everybody had them. I kept them on my cell phone. In a notebook. Because at the time, I was still younger, so cell phones were a thing still, but I kept them all on me, and I would make people call me, so I'd answer my cell phone on the floor, and they used to get mad at me, but I'm doing business, because I wanted them, because even if I wasn't at work, if it was a big enough order, I would drive into work, because I was on salary, I'd put everything in, I'd make the commission for it, and I'd leave. So I did that. I was very, sociable and personal, and then one day, they were trying to get me to go to management, and I was like, yo, this sounds awesome. My parents were real happy for me. I went through the Lowe's management training, and I'll never forget, I had an interview, and it was for my own, it was department manager of the door and window department at another store. I would have to relocate about 3 hours south near Miami from where I live right now. And I was all for it, and I had the interview, and they offered me less than what I was making now. What I was making at the time was sales, because they're oh, well, commissions don't matter. And I'm well, they matter in my life. I don't know where you live, but that number on my paycheck matters. And it was at that realization that I kind of started seeing the trend of the path that I could possibly be taking. And it wasn't until I owned a store and I was working 60, 70 hours a week was I making what I consider good money, which was just barely scraping six figures. And I was it was kind of that, oh shit moment. I want more than this for myself. And it was kind of a real downward spiral after that. I kept selling and doing well. But I didn't want to be there anymore. I started losing all that passion that I had for working retail and sales and all this. And then one day I just quit. And I was I want to be a personal trainer. This is around the time, I was still BMXing a lot. I had flexibility in my schedule. I had all my races planned out because I had a few sponsors. So I knew which ones I needed to be at. And I went to like the final race, and like if you do well at the final, they only give the opportunity. Well, it's a little different now. Anybody can turn pro now, but at the time it was like the top 5 in that age division could turn pro, and I was like 3rd. And I was like, so I had the opportunity. And I was like, if I don't take this, I'm going to regret this like forever, because it was just BMX was starting to go into the Olympics. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to try this out. So in the midst of me quitting, I thought I could make a living riding my bike. And I figured I'd do personal training on the side. So I took all my money that I had saved in 401k, which was like 15 grand. And for like being 25 years old, to have that in 401k, I was doing pretty well.
It's legit.
Naturally, I pissed all my parents off when I like my parents were like, what the fuck is this kid, what was our son doing? Because he just cashed it all in, and I blew it all on certifications for training, to become a better trainer. But none of the ones that mattered. It was only the ones that I wanted to go to, like Zach Evanesh's underground strength coach. I went to a DeFranco seminar. I did the John Hines like monkey bar gym certification. And like before I knew it, I was broke trying to figure shit out again, and I blew through all my money. And about a year went by. But in that time, I met my good friend Elliot Hulse, who's a really big fitness YouTuber now, and very large persona on the internet. And we both read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek at the same time. And we're like, yo, we need this passive income thing that these guys keep talking about. And I was like, he decided to make a football product. And I was like, well, I'm BMXing, so like I'll make a BMX product. So my dad was a videographer at the time. Doing really well. So I begged him to like come film me at the gym. So I filmed, it was like an hour straight of me doing exercises to help BMXers get faster. I just talked to his camera, and like he followed me around. So I'm talking, showing how to do squats, but it was all like underground stuff that people could do at home. So I knew it would be popular with that audience, and made it into a DVD, started selling it, and like kind of that was like a little bit of a rocket ship from there. Like then I taught myself how to make websites. I taught myself how to build an email list. I taught myself how to edit videos. I started making videos every day. But what it did for like my BMX career, because I was never and I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of athletes on this show and stuff, but like I was never the best pro. And it took a while for me to kind of come to terms with that. Like I was always in the final, but I was never winning the final. I was like, they can only take 8 people. I'd be like 5th or 6th. Like, right. I was never the guy winning, but I was not the guy losing. But, like, I was never, like, that guy. And but I started getting so much fan support because I was doing all these videos at home, like, putting them up. YouTube wasn't popular back then. It was Vidler was, like, the service I was using. But, like, I'd make a video every day, and I would sell my DVD in the video, but I would teach an exercise, right? And I had all these parents of these younger kids, like, coming up to me at races, like, wanting to talk to me, and, like, none of them were buying my DVD, but they were all like talking to me. So like when they would announce my name at races, I get like a really big crowd support. Nice. Like, and everybody was like, what the fuck? So I had like a little bit better sponsors than like other people because like they wanted like, so it worked out. But I burned myself out and I realized that wasn't a good niche. I was trying to get rich in a niche that just, it wasn't big enough to get me rich. But I learned a lot of skills that I then took forward into what I was about to do, which is I got big into affiliate marketing, but mainly with Google SEO. And that was at the time, very big, very lucrative. Not a lot of it works now. But I had figured out some little schemes and hacks that I could kind of trick Google into getting my websites to rank. And I would do it very strategically, and I would make a lot of money very quickly. And then the sites would just disappear. They would just like, I timed a lot with celebrity workouts and diets because I was so passionate about lifting. So like I made sites dedicated to celebrity workouts, and like I would spam them with a bunch of links when a celebrity's movie was coming out. I'd have a site ranking like #1 in Google for like the, Chris Evans workout or Thor workout, Captain America workout. Didn't matter. I had hundreds of these sites at all times. And like the movie would come out, everybody would see this jacked guy on screen, come home, Google his workout, find my site, and I would be shoving whatever fitness product I could down their throat, making commissions from. And then that morphed into, I went big on that for about 6-8 months. I was doing like $1,000 a day. Like I thought I was invincible. Like I finally made it, and met my current girlfriend who I now have a daughter with. During this time frame, we moved into like a luxury apartment. So like I started stacking my bills up, thinking my business was solid. And then Google kind of like caught up, and all my websites were flattened, and like I wasn't making any money anymore. And I was like, oh shit. That was like a dark time, which led me to me and my girlfriend broke up. And like I had that like athlete vibe mentality, and she was like on that 6-figure corporate path. And she was doing very well for herself. She got a 6-figure, like corporate position. Like she was starting to like, we were going to like networking stuff, and I looked like shit. Like I was like this punk athlete kid with like blonde stripes dyed in my hair. I dressed with like cut off shorts and skate shoes, and like my shirts had no sleeves on them. Like I looked like I could rob a convenience store in my spare time. Like, and like we ended up breaking up because like, and at first I was really mad at her. I thought it was all her, but I kind of, you know, after about a month of us being separated, I really took a look in the mirror, and I was like, yo, like, you don't look like a smart entrepreneur who's like been able to like, even though my business kind of collapsed, I still managed to do all that in the BMX world, turn pro on my bike, do all this in the SEO world, and make a lot of money, you know, really quickly. And I didn't save any of it, but, you know, but I was smart. I was intelligent. But when I looked in the mirror, I looked like a punk. I was like, this needs to change. So, at the time I was staying with my good friend, who is actually now Elliot Hulse's full-time videographer. I was sleeping on an air mattress, and I was like about to like buy like some nice furniture for my room. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I was like, I need to go redo my image. So like and when I like something, as you say, like I get passionate about it, I like go all in, immerse myself, learn everything I can, and then go apply it. So for like a week, I just studied all this shit about style. But what I found was nobody was really speaking to me. Like I didn't want to wear suits. I didn't want to be like that business casual guy. And that's what I thought my girlfriend dumped me for. I thought she wanted that. Like, you know, so I was like, well, I'm just going to like kind of keep my own personality, but, you know, go dress better and try this shit out. So I started, you know, I had like, I think it was like $2,000 in savings. Like I blew it all on new clothes. Like, but I started going out, and when I would go out, like I was single, so I was going out a lot at night with my buddies, and I just started seeing the reactions from women and girls, and like even people like bar owners and business owners and restaurant owners. They were treating me completely different. Like I was getting questioned for like, I remember standing at one of the bars, and they're like, how long have you owned the bar? And I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Like, and I was like, oh, you look like the guy that owns the bar. But it was because I was dressed in a way that like commanded like that presence. And then like, you know, I got real like analytical with it, and I would like go out and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to wear a leather jacket tonight, and I'm going to see what type of girl I take home tonight. And like, I would like study that, like, and it was really weird. And like, kind of like, you know, I mean, looking back, I'm like, but like I learned that like certain looks attracted certain women. And then I realized that the marketer in me started coming out. I was already like taking my friends to the mall and like helping them dress themselves for like going out. Cause at first they made fun of me. Then they're like, yo, this is like working. Like, you know, you're not even paying for drinks anymore when you go out, cause girls are buying you drinks. Like, so like I helped them, and then they told a couple of their friends at like their work. So like every weekend I was making like a couple $100, like taking dudes to the mall and just getting them an outfit to go to the club that night. Like, so I was like, naturally, this isn't scalable, and I don't want to dress dudes for a living. But I went to YouTube, and I started making videos, and I looked at what was out there and the guys that I had followed, and they were very PG-13. And I was like, I mean, I would even say they were PG at the time. Like I was like, yo, you guys are like the cartoons of the world. Like I need to like steamroll into this bitch with a fucking like fuck you attitude and like a leather jacket and just ruffle some feathers. And like my first video online was like the 3 shirts to get you laid. Like, and I started making, you know, 5 videos a week on YouTube of like all the shit that they wanted to say but were afraid to say. And I ended up growing my YouTube very quickly to like 10,000 subscribers from 0. And I started getting but I had products. Like I was making digital products like no other, and I was the only style guy that was doing this. And all the other style guys were reaching out to me like, yo, what are you doing? Like, can you come to our conference and like talk to us about this? Like, so like I was speaking with like the littlest followings ever at all these events for style bloggers and Instagrammers. And it was because I was a direct marketer. Like I understood list building. I understood making digital products. I understood membership sites, upsells, like, and there was like, we don't know how you're making money, but like, we know you are because it's clear. And I was just like, cool. But, you know, then that kind of morphed into now I've been doing that for the last 3 years or 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. And I'm just I've made so many videos on YouTube about teaching guys how to dress that I'm just like, what more needs to be said? And like, I was starting to get like brand endorsements. Like my channel it's at like 27,000, almost 28,000 subscribers right now. So it's not like massive, but like, I was really starting to ramp up and get about 500,000 views a month. I was getting into the territory where like YouTube, when you're getting like 1 million views a month, like your YouTube kind of starts making a turn to where like you could go to the stratosphere.
Right.
And I was starting to like really get to that. And it was just and then YouTube changed one of their algorithms, like I guess about a year ago now, maybe a little less than that, where they like abusive language was like a thing now. So like overnight, like, and I have like 700 videos on my channel. Like I have a ton of fucking videos, not all the best quality, but I'm a believer in like just fucking pump shit out.
Yep.
Like overnight, like hundreds of my videos were demonetized from ad revenue. And what that means is like, it wasn't the YouTube ad revenue that I cared about, but when YouTube has no incentive to show your video, when there's no ads running on it, they don't show your videos anymore. So like I wasn't showing up in the related search terms. I wasn't showing up at the end of people's videos anymore. So like my traffic went from like 500,000 views a month now to like 100,000 views a month. And I'm like, it was a realization to me that like, holy shit, like similar to the SEO, like I was really banking on one platform and one platform only. And I was like, fuck. Now I was still building my email list because that, took a hit too. Like I was getting like 50 to 75 new email leads a day from my YouTube videos underneath in the description. That went back to like 5. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is really fucking with my revenue right now. Like, cause my money is made on my email list. And I was just like, so I turned to, I got like a little depressed there for a while and I was like, I don't really know what to do. And like, I started looking at Instagram and then I just realized that I didn't really I wanted to build Instagram because it was my weakest platform. At the time I only had like 2,000 followers compared to like 30 on YouTube. Like there's a disconnect there because I just didn't focus on Instagram. And I was like, well, this is a good time. Fuck it. Let's bring it up. Let's put the same effort into Instagram. But I started doing the style stuff and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, I'm just like, it wasn't resonating with me. But what I really enjoyed was like the psychology and like the persuasion and like more of the manipulative shit that you can do with style. That interested me. And that was like shit that helps business owners. Like I was starting to get coaching clients and people paying me for advice that are like, yo, Ryan, like, how do I brand myself in like this niche and this niche? And I'm like, and I wasn't asking for that. It was just kind of approaching it. And I was like, yo, I like this angle. So I went all in on Instagram, just kind of teaching style, but to a degree with more psychological base and more of quite frankly, a manipulative angle on how to not so much fake it till you make it, but like position yourself exactly how you want the world to see you before they see you. And that led to what I spoke about at Cavs event was like my Instagram stuff. I looked at stories and I was like, man, nobody's really like, this is like an untapped platform. And Instagram's really heavily dumping money into it, but I saw the same thing. It's just people talking to themselves like this. And like they weren't really doing anything interesting. So I'm like, what if I, edit some videos and put it in the stories, but don't do it sideways to where people have to like turn their phone because nobody does that anyways. And I got real into vertical video and like started reading statistics on it because of how popular Snapchat was. And I was like, I got immersed. I was like, I was really obsessed with it. And I realized that the engagement rate on vertical video, because of how like you're looking at your phone like this when you watch it, I was like, if I do like a 30-second video every day that's really edited, but just showcases some part of my life. Like it was like a vlogger, but I always liked the idea of vlogging, but I didn't want to be a vlogger because the thought of filming myself everywhere really didn't excite me. But I was like, if I go get coffee and I make a cool little movie about me going to get coffee, like, I think that's awesome. If I'm riding my bike, I make a cool video about me riding my bike. Like, that's awesome. I was like, and I can do this every day. So I made the commitment for 30 days to do highly edited Instagram stories. And it was by far the best thing I've ever done over the last year. But it took my Instagram account, like my story views when I started were at like 100 views a story. Within 30 days, I was seeing, 300 to 500 views a story. Within like 90 days to 120 days, I was seeing 500, 700 views a story. And now, but in the process, my account has like tripled in size. And that's just been in the last year. Now, and I wasn't doing anything else for growth. I was just focusing on Instagram stories. But then I also, since I was taking Instagram seriously, I got more serious with the pictures and things that I was posting on my profile. But because the stories were getting so much engagement, like my profile started growing without me doing anything because Instagram was showing me more. So like I was catching the algorithm a little bit and like I've not looked back. And that's kind of, but the concept now is just still teaching style. Like I still like showcase all of my outfits. Like, I make sure that every picture you can see the full outfit. I tag all the brands. I'm still supported by a lot of brands, but it's not so much making content like the 5 shirts to get you laid or the 5 shirts women can't resist. But now it's like, how to differentiate yourself from your competitors, or how to, stand out, how to be polarizing, or so it's using style to more help make people make more money. But doing the stories like I am, it's kind of branded myself as this really interesting, fun guy. But all I do is show like the most, and I think it's a game for me. Like I just want to show the most boring fucking thing I can do in the most cinematic way possible.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's the thing I enjoy about it. And if you guys have probably noticed lately that my Instagram stories have changed quite a bit. It's because Ryan showed me a few of the tricks. I'm no near the quality of what he does, but everybody's going, well, these are more interesting. This is pretty cool. But like you said, it's like random things. The other day I posted one of me driving around in my electric car. And everybody's like, that was awesome. There was like music behind it and stuff. So the inspiration behind that is Ryan and his special Instagram story technique.
Well, it's more or less like, once again, it was like, how can I differentiate myself from what's out there? But I don't want and this is kind of what I'm really wanting to teach, and the message I'm trying to share is that Instagram is full of very highly edited videos and very highly edited photos, and everybody's trying to be the Ty Lopez or the Grant Cardones, the driving in the Bentleys and the big houses, when 99.9% of the world will never experience that. But they do go get coffee. They do go get to the park with their children. And I'm just and Gary Vee is kind of a guy, I don't like a lot of everything that Gary Vee says, but he said the term document, don't create. And that really stuck with me because I'm I'm documenting my life, but I'm not changing my life to document it. And I found a lot of people, especially vloggers, the next vlog is can we set a car on fire today? Or can we do this? Can we do that? It becomes all for the phone and the picture and the video. And I'm I'm going to go to the beach with my daughter today and make it look cool. But that's what I would do anyways. But in what it was doing was it just separated. It makes your story so much more interesting because not everybody's doing that. When you're scrolling through and you see a fade in and some music starts playing, they're like, whoa. And then all of a sudden there's these crazy, these weird angles. And it's cinematography in the most basic of forms, but doing it on the most boring of shit, which is everybody's life, day to day is pretty boring. Unless you're going on a trip somewhere else, you're planning to go skydiving or you're planning to rent a Lamborghini for the day. But I'm well, that's cool when you do that, but what do you do Monday through Friday? Cause that's what Instagram is about. And I found that if I could showcase that in a good, entertaining and way, I would build a following. And if you guys, for everybody reading this, if you're interested, this is influence. It's there's a book by Robert Cialdini called Influence, and he talks about the influential triggers on what makes people like you, what makes people want to follow you, buy from you, invest in you, hire you, whatever. But relatability and likability are two of the strongest factors. It's like a friend tells a friend, or somebody's oh, I like Brian. I drink coffee too. So, and I was finding that the influence I was building was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Because people would DM me instantly, yo, I love that. I love drinking sugar-free Red Bull too. Or I love that you cycle every day and you're such a busy, you're a father, you're a business owner. I like that no matter what, you dress well, because I was living what I was preaching on my profile, and in my videos, they saw it in real life. I wasn't I didn't just dress up for a picture. I'm taking a picture of me in video wearing the outfit that I just posted on Instagram that day. So there was a big correlation of people, they started really getting to know me and liking me. And I've realized that that's kind of my specialty as the likability and relatability to my followers. And it's because of what I was doing in the stories, because I wasn't trying to, if you can make your everyday life look cool, when you do those cool things that happen every once in a while, you take a cool trip or you fly on a private jet, I'm not doing that every weekend, so I'm not going to talk about it. But if I do happen to, damn right, I'm going to make that shit look cinematic as fuck with my little camera. Yeah. And it just looks that much better. But it was a realization that Instagram needs realness, and most people are so worried about putting themselves out there that they lose the realness factor and they lose that relatability and that likability. Even the biggest guys today, like even the biggest Instagrammers are freaking out about their engagement. I'm like, well, you look like a fucking Ken doll. Like you don't look real.
Right.
Like, I mean, how many more fitness pros do we need putting a motivational quote underneath a picture of them flexing in that same angle? And all the girls do it. Like, I wish I could look that good every day at the same angle. Like, you know.
Well, I think one of the things that I've noticed about you, and you mentioned earlier that the whole fake it till you make it thing, it seems like there's fake it till you make it, and then there's the camp of be your true authentic self. And I feel like you've really mastered that within a brand that you've specifically crafted, you know, and you are authentic within that specific brand that is relatable to other people. And that's why I watch your story every day. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. He's going to the beach with his daughter. That reminds me of when I hang out with my kids, and it just makes that connection. It's awesome.
Well, it's also too, it's like, and I also I do things that are calculated now because I learned the power of behind it. And like, I tell this, and it's like, it's weird. I'm like, my story views keep going up, and I'm like, people know that I'm manipulating them now. I'm like, I got to stop saying this. But like there's a reason I show myself, like, if I'm trying to teach people how to make money as a personal brand from their business, there's certain things that you have to show. Like, people trust people that, one, are relatable and likable to them. So that's where, like, the stupid things, like getting coffee every day, like, you know, taking care of my daughter, like hanging out with my family, like, you know, being cool with my girlfriend, like, you know, doing fun family stuff. Like, that's all. Anybody can relate to that, you know. But there's also, like, I have to interject things like, I mean, there's a reason I show myself going to the beach all the time. What does that say? I have a lot of free time and I go spend it at the beach. Like, they're like, what, does he never work? Like, he's always at the beach. Like, so right. People are curious, like, what does he do for a living? So people that they follow me, they're like, yo, like, it's like you're always riding your bike, you're traveling here, you're at the beach. Like, when do you work? And it's like, it provokes those type of questions. And then, like, you know, like, I wear certain things that, like, show a little bit of status, show a little bit of success, you know, and, like, I make sure that I don't do it in a douchey way, but I want people to know, like, yo, like, I'm making some money and I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to rub your face in it, you know. And you can do these things day to day without being an asshole in your stories that show that you're successful, that show that you're just a normal person. And it's just highly underutilized. Like, I mean, and I'm even starting to bleed that into my Instagram profile. I mean, the other day I post, like, I have it sounds arrogant as fuck, but I have a video girl who films me and takes pictures of me. You met her, Savannah. Yeah. She's really good. But we did a photo shoot in Chipotle. And I'm like, people are going to see me and Chipotle eating, and I posted it, and it's like got a lot of likes because it's Chipotle. Like, nobody's making edited pictures of themselves eating a burrito. Like, but I am. Like, and people saw it, were like, yo, I love that. Like, you're at Chipotle. And it's just like, you know, I'm going to do, like, photo shoots in Target and, like, Publix and Walmart. Like, just the most, like, I mean, it's a game for me now. It's like, and it's like satire too. It's like, you see all these, like, cause I'm still technically in fashion. So it's like, I get a lot of followers that want to see my outfits, and, like, brands want to support me and, like, you know, pay me to wear their stuff. So, like, I have to show the whole outfit. But, like, if I show the whole outfit strolling an aisle at Target, like, with a bag of diapers, like, I think it's hilarious.
Yes.
Like,
I agree.
And it's like, nobody's doing that because they're all trying to find the perfect lighting, and they're trying to, like, let me go stand, like, you know, on, like, a bridge with, like, a cool backdrop, or let me 3/4 frame myself. Like, I'm just like, yo, I'm just going to go to the baby aisle at Target and take some pictures. I just think it's hilarious. Like, and then I'll write a meaningful caption to something that actually helps and people underneath. And, like, that's what I'm doing on my profile now. And then couple that with, like, my stories. Like, I mean, Instagram's starting to make me a lot more money than anything I've ever done. And I was just like, and it was because of this realness and that's the first thing. Like, I have live events and people are like they won't tell me this, but they'll tell, like, my girlfriend who's helping, because they know my girlfriend because they've seen her in my stories. Like, they know that I have a daughter, and I bring, like, it ingrains, like, these patterns that people, like, they know you, they know all your quirks, and it is what you want to show them. But, you know, and that's the thing too. It's like, if you're trying to, like, brand yourself, this is, like, for fitness advice or, like, for anything, like health and fitness, nutrition. Like, if they don't land on your page, like, they need to, like, they have an image of you that, like, they may not know you yet. They don't know anything about you, but, like, they expect to see something when they land on, like, an Instagram profile, and you only have one shot. Like, once they land, it's like, oh, you know, like, I like Adam, Million Pound. I like what he's about. He's like, yeah, he's in shape. He's giving good advice. Like, I like him. You know, if they see all highly edited pics of you, it's just like, you know, it's a little fake. You know, but that's not saying you don't need to have those, because I think everybody should have those. You need to show your profession. You need to show that you're an expert at your craft. But at the same point, like, have pictures of you with your family. Have pictures of you near, like, driving your car, even if it's a fucking, you know, beat up pickup truck. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, make that shit look good. Like, get a photographer to come take pictures of that shit. But have shit like that. Like, don't hide that. Like, don't go rent a Lamborghini and take pictures for the day, and those are the only pictures you have.
Yeah.
Like,
I love to make fun of myself in my story, especially like the car, my electric car. It's not like a Tesla. It's a Nissan. It's a 2013 Nissan Leaf. It looks like a frog. And it's like the moped of cars. And somebody asked me, like, how fast does that go? I'm like, oh, it goes 0 to 60 in 2 hours. And you know, but and you know, I put music behind it and make it look all fancy. I'm like, this is the best. You know, I'm totally making fun of myself. Now,
I mean, I have done that too with my daughter. Like, I'll take her to I rent a car at the mall, like one of the push cars, and I'll sit there and I'll set up people look at me like I'm nuts when I film this shit. I'll set up 3 GoPros and I'll be sitting there and I'll go, and then I'll do like the burn. Like, I've done so much, but it's fun. Like, it's funny. Like, it makes you different. Like, and so anyways, but go ahead and what you're about to say.
Well, I want to make sure I've got, there's a theme. Like, I like to pick up on the themes of successful people and their life. And I feel like we're at a point where, you know, I'm sure some people that are listening and they're thinking, okay, this guy's made a lot of pivots in his life and he's had the courage to just totally shift gears. So you may be inspiring some people like that are kind of feeling a little bit lost and they don't have a whole lot of confidence. Like, how do you build up that confidence level to be like, okay, BMX done. Now we're doing this. I'm doing, you know, I'm doing health and fitness, and then boom, done. I'm doing men's fashion. Boom, done. I'm doing Instagram and influencing. Like, how do you develop that confidence, or where does that come from for you?
I mean, honestly, like when I think of the term entrepreneur, like I've never, and it's kind of, and I still struggle with this a lot. Like, I've never been motivated by massive amounts of money. I'm more motivated by just saying, like, fuck you, I do what I want. That's always. So I've always, like, done stuff, and part of the thing, like, and actually Cav jokes about it, but I get bored easily. So I'm always battling that, like, I need to stick things out longer just because I get bored, and I know that. But for me, it's just, like, I just never wanted to, like, have to wake up and, like, have to do something. Like, and that was always my motivator. So, like, I've always, and I've always embraced, like, my personality. And I think that, with the internet, it's so easy to do that now, and there's ways to make money with everything. Like, and that's kind of it. Like, it's, and like, I kind of create stuff, especially now. Like, I create stuff for myself, and I kind of hope that people find it interesting, and like that's what they want to see. I mean, some of it's strategic. Like, I do look at demographics, and I like, but I realize that most people, like, if you only focus on one, like a singular type of person, and that's like all your content is about, then there's no room for growth for yourself or them as an individual. Like, so it's like, I have people that still follow me from the days that I was talking about BMX. They've been on my email list for 5-6 years. Like, because people understand that, like you're not one dimensional. Like, you're going to evolve, you're going to learn, and especially like interesting people that like kind of figure this internet thing out a little bit. Like, I hate when people put people into boxes. Like, you know, it's cool. Like, when I was like, you know, looking back, like, I'm not a big sports guy growing up with extreme sports, but like when like Michael Jordan tried to play baseball and like Bo Jackson was like the dual sports, like that's fucking rad to me. Like, even Tim Tebow tried to do it. Like, right. You know, but just, it's like when people put you into a category, that's where like I'm like, don't put me in a box. Like, yeah, I'm still gonna give you fashion advice. I'm still gonna, like, you can look like I'm not the most jacked dude, but like I always stay lean. And I've stayed lean for years. Like, I know health and fitness. I know counting macros. I know getting stronger. Like, you know, it's, you know, and people, like, I think they trust more if you're more diverse in a group, but you have like your specialized skills. And I mean, if anybody listening to this is like, yo, I want to like make a pivot, like, the cool thing about the internet is like you can make a pivot, and if it doesn't work out in 6 months, you just go back to what you were doing.
Right. Right.
Because the internet fucking forgets. Like, you know, we're not like even somebody at like the Kardashian level, they could punch a baby and a week later nobody cares.
That's crazy.
Like, I mean, it's fascinating to me, but that's the reality, and that's the world. And like, if you're like a fitness personality, you have a massive following, but you want to be like a chiropractor, like, fuck, document yourself going to school. Like, nothing's stopping you.
Right.
And you'll piss people off. People like be like, I still get this all the time. Ryan, you were just better when you talked about fashion, and it's like, okay, well, you were better when you didn't you were better when you were, you know, not being an asshole. Like stop following me. I don't fucking care. I don't need your one little like on my photo. Like, I'm not validated by that. Like, go piss off. You want somebody else? There's a million other mediocre people you can follow. So it's just owning your choices, and like, even if they're wrong, like, you know, most people, like, you know, I've kind of grown up listening to Elliot Hulse, and like, he's very motivational. But you know, like, decisiveness is a huge thing, and the ability to just make a decision and stick to it, even if it's wrong, like, is a quality that most people don't possess. You know, and to have that little bit of courage, like, I only have that courage because I'm like, well, nobody else has this courage, so fuck it, I'm going to do it. You know, It's like, I'm terrified of public speaking. But like, I leave Wednesday to go talk to 550 people. Fucking nervous as shit already. But I know that, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking doing this because other people are like, they won't do this because they're scared. I'm scared, but I'm not a pussy. Like, you know, so it's like, and that's just kind of like, I don't know. And the ability not to be able to do that and then just make ourselves look cool on the internet, because that's really all we do, is make ourselves look cool on Instagram. And it's like, if you can get paid by that, because people want to, you know, get paid by people that they like and they trust and like they feel like are friends. And there's no better way to do that than like YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, like all that shit that we have for free right now. Right. I mean, yeah, there's you know, limitations to what is considered free. I mean, yeah, it baffles me that people still care that Facebook takes their data. Like, who fucking cares? Like, Facebook knows more about me than my parents do. Like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I've made a lot of money from Facebook, so I'm going to continue to let them steal my data. Yeah. And if they want to sell it to somebody and I get some unsolicited emails or phone calls, so be it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I just think people, they take shit way too seriously, and we just live in a great time. Like, that, like, your cameras on your phone are in 4K. Like, you don't have to, like, we are media teams now. Like, that used to be a profession. You'd have a media team. Like, now it's like you're a one-man fucking show. You're like, yo, like, this is cool. I got my phone. Hey, take a picture of me standing in front of this. Like, you don't need a fucking photographer. I mean, it helps in the long run, but it's like, I'd be more fascinated if somebody made more changes with their life and then documented that process than somebody who just stayed somewhere. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of power in just sticking something out for a very long time. But as a person, like, I just think you have different qualities about you. And sometimes a certain quality is like shining and some other the qualities are maybe like dull at the moment. And then like, it's like, boom, it's, you know, it's like a pivot. You have to like constantly be adjusting, and it makes people more interesting. You know, like, I want to know, like, you know, what LeBron does. Like, does LeBron drink sugar-free Red Bull? I'd love to know that. Like, does LeBron like, you know, does he like Charmin, or like, what's his toilet paper of choice? Like, you know, what's his favorite candy? Like, when him and his wife go out for a date night, where do they go? Does he eat ice cream? Like, shit like that, like, makes people fascinating.
Yeah.
And you can show all that now so easily, and it's just like, why hide that? Like,
yeah. I 100% agree that, and you said the word interesting, and I think that I definitely am going to call this episode the internet's most interesting man, for sure. My challenge to you is to do an Instagram story with like that Dos Equis like format, with like the quotes, like, he, you know,
I'll do it.
You know, when he snores, he moves mountains, or whatever it is. You know, that's something I would love to see. Being a fan of yours. Now, speaking of being a fan of yours, you know, we just hit the tip of the iceberg on all your stuff. I want to make sure that people can connect with you, follow you, get more in depth with your story. What's the best way to do that?
I mean, Instagram is my right now. So like, just my name on Instagram. I'm sure you probably have show notes or links. My YouTube, I mean, I don't even really plug my YouTube, but I do some really awesome, I mean, my content has shifted more from fashion to, I do what I call influential breakdowns, and I kind of re-engineer what makes somebody successful from an influence standpoint. As to, my last one was the rapper G-Eazy. And that's why it keeps me in touch with my style roots, because style is like what like people see. It's like their personality. And like G-Eazy, for example, has an incredible style, and I think it's the biggest reason why he's successful today, because he's used it to be different and stand out from all the other rappers in the world. And I'm not a big fan of his music, but I'm a fan of him and being successful. But I've done Gary Vee, Casey Neistat, Logan Paul. Like, I'm going to continue to do more, but they take a lot of work. So I can't pump them out like every day like I used to do content. Like, they take Savannah, the girl that edits, like 10 hours to edit each one. But my YouTube's really good, and you can't not find me on there. Just type my name in. And yeah, I mean, as far as like paid courses and stuff, like I was telling you, I have May 16th, I have what I'm calling the Vertical Influence Masterclass starting. It's a 6-week online course. It is a premium price course. It's $500. But it's Vertical Influence, the name is kind of what I'm teaching. It's going deep, not wide, but also vertical videos on cell phone, because I think that is the future. And my calculations of the last year, I've seen it kind of come to fruition. I think it is the future, and I think more people need to embrace it. And it's just how to build influence, how to separate yourself from your market, like how to really brand yourself to make money from not like, I mean, I've been doing, like, which I didn't realize was a big deal. Like, I've literally, within 6 months of me coming into the fashion world, I was making like a low 6-figure income. And I was like, to me, that's not rich. Like, but like, most people don't do that.
Right.
And I was like, and I've been able to grow it. Like, and sometimes it's dips and valleys all the time, but like, I only have 10,000 followers on Instagram. And I mean, I'm not afraid to tell people I bought a couple thousand because I wanted to get the swipe up feature. Like, so it's like, right. I mean, I had 27,000 on YouTube. I never bought anything on YouTube, but I really wanted that swipe up feature, which ironically now doesn't fucking matter because more people click the link in your bio. So like, I'm like, that was a waste. Doesn't even matter. Killed my engagement a little bit, but my engagement's still so high because of what I do on there that it doesn't matter.
Right.
But yeah, so like my Instagram, like, if you can't not, like, my Instagram is where like everything goes down. And at least right now, for the next probably foreseeable year, I will be focusing 100% on Instagram. And I do edited stories that I try to do them daily, but as you know, they take a little bit to edit. So some days I slack and I don't get them out, but I usually make up for it with something cool like 2 days later.
Now, I think another, our mutual friend, Coach Cav, maybe we need to come up with some sort of bet or challenge where he needs to show up on his Instagram in a pair of your skinny jeans. I mean, I think we need to go there with Cav. It would take his Instagram to a whole new level. I mean, would you agree with that?
I would agree. I've never seen a coach in skinny jeans.
That's what I'm saying. He's a trendsetter in all ways. So, Ryan, I just want to thank you, man. I want to say thank you for being authentic. I want to say thank you for being willing to teach and share what you are doing. And just, you bring a lot of passion to life, and you're out there just dispersing what you've learned, no matter whether it's about dating, fashion, fitness, Instagram, being an influencer, vertical videos. And you sat there, we had dinner together, and you showed me all this stuff, and you're like, you could have charged me thousands of dollars for that conversation that we had. And then I go and apply it, and I try to, shine a light on you as much as I can to give back. But I just feel like you've given so much, and I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next, and the next pivot, and the next thing you really go after. So just keep up the good work, man.
I'm hoping to keep up with this for a while. Now Instagram's kind of like the target. Like YouTube, I was very attached, and I'm still very attached to the 100,000 play button. Instagram, you don't get anything cool like that. But like, now that I've given up on YouTube, it's just like I got to go where money is, and like this is a business. And that's another thing too. Is like this has always been a business for me. Like from day one, like I started with the intention to make money, and I think more people should accept that. Like that, this is a fucking massive potential business, like in everybody's pocket. And I get annoyed by people like, oh, I do it, for the love and for the followers. Like, yeah, that's cool. I'm passionate. But like, I've made 397 Instagram stories. At about 50, I was bored.
Yeah.
But I still keep going, like, because they're good. They're a tool. They showcase stuff. But like, I'm passionate about creating them. But like, at the end of the day, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, you just have to show up to work.
Right.
Like, and this is work.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you did a podcast every day, I'm sure after about 30 days, you might be a little burnt out of doing podcasts every day, but you'd still show up the next day to work. And I don't think people, like, they're in it for, like, the love. And I'm like, that's cool. You got to love what you do or else you're not going to do it. But at the end of the day, like, I don't care. Like, I'm sure there's days that LeBron doesn't want to play basketball, but he has to. You know, he's paid to.
Right.
You know, like, so it's like, and embracing that too. Like, I just don't think it, you know, that's why, like, I'm not worried. Like, some days my stories suck, in my opinion. I'm like, but I'm still hitting fucking posts.
Yeah, you're consistent with it. You know, you're putting in the effort every day, and that's how we roll, man. That's how we do it.
It's you know, it's cool. And like I said, like, I mean, I hope I inspired some people, not only to, like, more or less take their Instagram and kind of have more fun with it, because I think it needs that. But I hope I inspire people, like, if they do want to make a change, to, you know, fucking document the fuck out of it and tell people, be polarizing. Like, that's one of the things that most people aren't these days, is they're too vanilla. Like, it's like, so what if you built 1 million followers on Instagram for being a fitness professional? If you want to fucking go teach backgammon, do it. You already have a big platform to do it from.
Right. Yeah. Be your authentic self, and don't be afraid to get out of that shell, get out of that comfort zone. And I feel like that's kind of the real story that you're bringing to the table. That's how you've inspired me the most, is just being fearless and going after your passion. So again, my friend, I thank you for your time. I know that you're super busy. And to everybody out there, I want you to think about what we talked about today. We covered a lot. Like I said, Ryan's story is super interesting, and we want to make sure that you're taking some sort of action. Maybe your action step is, you know, dressing up your Instagram a little bit, paying a little bit more attention to that. Maybe it's documenting your story. Maybe it's starting to tell your story, and maybe it's making a life pivot. If you feel like you've been kind of stuck in a little bit of a life rut and you're wanting to do something different, don't be afraid to try it. Like Ryan said, you can always fall back to plan B of what you're already doing, but why not at least give it a shot? All right. So that, my friends, that's how we do this. That's how we get out there. That's how we own it. Every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode. Hey, I've got one quick question before you take off, everybody. Are you ready to donate some weight loss to the 1 Million Pound Mission? I thought so. So I've got a quick 2-step process to make that happen, my friends. First, just head on over to the millionpoundmission.com website, millionpoundmission.com, and grab a free copy of my #1 tool, the Transformation Battle Plan Workbook. Now, this will help you set up your battle plan for the next 28 days of your transformation process. Now, once you complete your 28 days, then come back to the website, millionpoundmission.com, and donate your weight loss and contribute to our 1 Million Pound Mission. So let's do this.